Patrick Findaro here with Franchise Finance. I'm joined with Bryant Amundsen, co-founder and CEO of Nautical Bowls. Bryant, thanks for joining today.
You are so welcome. Thank you for having me. Happy to be here.
No,
Excited to chat. I've been listening to your podcast for a number of years now, so this is exciting.
well, no, thanks so much. And you've grown a brand to pretty fast pace. I understand you were founded in 2018, started franchising 2021. Is that right?
Yep, that's correct.
And now you have, 100 or so commitments with numerous locations open.
Yeah, we have 72 locations open right now. We have another 8 that are on the cusp. I mean, they could all be open next month or 3 months from now. Construction's kind of a moving target right now. It's probably the same for every brand that's out there. And then we have another 100 in the queue. So we have 180 plus licenses awarded overall, and then 72 of those are open, and then another 100 or so in the queue to open. So yeah, we've grown very fast in a very short period of time. And with that come growing pains, but we are very excited for the future because it's to build something
But from what
big.
I understand, like
Yeah.
before you and your wife founded Nautical Bowls, it seems like you took a pretty methodical approach in terms of where you would work, having complementary skill sets before launching the brand. Could you take us back a little bit to the nexus of Nautical Bowls and kind of what went into it before you opened that first location?
Yeah, we are very smart, super geniuses. And we said, hey, we eat acai bowls in the wintertime in Minnesota when it's -30 out. Sometimes, not all the time, okay? Not all the time, but sometimes. And there's probably other people out there that do that too. So we might as well start this. That was our market research. I'm downplaying it, but I always wanted to be an entrepreneur forever, wanted to get a job right out of college. I was like, I'm gonna get a job in sales or marketing to learn how to sell a thing or to market a thing to help with business. So it was always a stepping stone. I studied communications in college to learn how to communicate better for sales and marketing. But I actually was going to be a motivational speaker. Then I was going to start a DJ business. I love entertaining, love having a microphone. I don't have a microphone on my desk. I should get one.
And so you
So then
do
I
a
could
little
just,
stand up.
I did stand up in college. Yep. I wanted to go to SNL, so that was, I wanted to be a stand up comedian and then an improv comedian, go to SNL, Saturday Night Live, because I love that part. I love entertaining, love captivating a crowd. I'm very comfortable in front of a crowd and love the opportunity for that. I don't actually get nervous. It's actually really exciting. And I don't say that to brag or whatever. Some people are fearful of that. And I realize I really love it. So sometimes a little too much, maybe, where I steal the spotlight. So anyway, I realized that being a DJ, starting a DJ company, I was working for a guy in college, and I was gonna do that, or I was gonna be a motivational speaker, and the guy made not a lot of money, and he was doing it for like 10 years, and then did a DJ thing on the side to help make more money. I was like, man, we want to have a big family. My wife and I, when we were getting married, we're like, hey, we want 7 kids. We want a big family. I'm one of 6 kids, and she's one of 4, and we always wanted to have a big family. So you're making 30 grand a year running a DJ business, which was what my boss was making about at that time. I was like, that's tough to do with 7 children. So we just were like, hey, we got to find a business. And so my wife went to school in Southern California for college, and then I went to school here in Minnesota, and we were both from here. And then I worked for Delta during school, so I would toss bags, loaded planes, and then had free flights. So I would fly to California Thursday night through Tuesday morning, and I would have class here in Minnesota Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, and I spent like so much time there. People thought that I went to school there, like her classmates thought that I went to school there, and we went to all these different acai bowl shops. Like that was our thing. We would go there over the weekends and try these different places, and we loved it. And so then when we got married, we both got jobs. She had a business management degree, and then she got a job in sales and marketing for a beverage startup. So got the startup phase, what that was like, and just crushed it right out the gate with that company here in Minnesota. Got them into Holiday gas station, Holiday, which is based here in Minnesota, and a number of other big chains. So that was awesome. And so she crushed it. She did a great job. So much so that she had like spare time. Like, hey, CEO of the company, what else should I do? And they're like, well, yeah. So not a lot of good direction. So she would spend like the last 2 hours of her day with the freedom to try something. And so then she's like, what can we do? So we kept ideating. We had 3 different business ideas, and then we just said, hey, this acai bowl shop is going to be the best one.
How much did the first location set you back? I always hear stories about franchise founders where they really built like a very basic proof of concept, and then obviously,
Oh yeah.
by franchisee 50, it looks very different and it's more expensive, but the brand equity is also better maintained.
Yes, that's the same story that we had. So I had no construction experience, but I basically built our first store by hand with the help of YouTube, friends and family, and minimal sleep. And yeah, it was pretty wild. So we used reclaimed wood to build our front counter. We used friends and family labor and gave them free bowls, but not even that many, like some. There wasn't like it was not a good trade on their part. So we got a lot of help. And yeah, man, it was a very simple store, but the product spoke for itself, and our the experience that we created was word of mouth worthy, and we spread very quickly. Our first location, you had to get lost to find us, but we just cranked, did very well in that first store. And then we created a franchisable model because we read E-Myth and we're like, hey, we have to franchise the thing. We weren't necessarily planning on franchising, but we're like, we have to have a franchisable business, which means we have the time and financial freedom. That's what we're after. With a big family, we also want to see them, not working 100-hour weeks, right? So it's like, okay, so that we created that, and it's franchisable. We had our second location, and our biggest worry with our second location was, will the culture scale? We know how to make a bowl. We can teach anybody how to make a bowl, and the product is great, but will the culture and the experience, can we scale that piece? Because we were in it a lot. We didn't make as many bowls towards the end there behind the counter, but we were leadership. We were with the team. We were just all about the culture and the guest experience. Then we had basically almost like secret shoppers, but our team members would go and work at the other location and just like pry and ask questions, and as if they didn't work there before. And then they would report back to us and like, hey, these people get it. This is good. The second location, and then second location, boom, just like same thing. So we were like, okay, this has legs. This is awesome. And our plan was 25 locations in the Twin Cities, Minnesota.
Just do a bunch of corporate locations.
Yeah, that was the plan, because we thought maybe franchising was the exit for us, would be to exit to a competitor or to a
Sure.
Private equity to then take it nationwide and franchise it. But then we decided to franchise in 2021, and then the rest is history. So here we are 3 years later. This time 3 years ago, we had 2 stores, and now we have 72 stores.
How did you manage like the supply chain with getting acai to your locations during COVID? Was that difficult?
That was difficult because we only had 2 stores during that,
So you
and
weren't a big fish.
we weren't a big fish.
Yeah.
No, we didn't carry a big stick, but from our supplier, they're like, you are going through more product than anyone else in the country. So like we had basically what we said is like, we're awesome. And it was like, we had the highest producing, single location, and they're like, we can, you guys are buying pallets at a time. We're selling like just one case at a time to these other places. So we were just cranking and firing on all cylinders, which was awesome, right? So we hedged our bets, and we actually just brought it in internally, supply chain, and we just rented a freezer section at this freezer facility, and then we hedged our bets because we actually ran out of product on our own stores because the supply chain was down to the supplier, right? And then because getting coconut from Thailand was tricky. In LA, if you remember, they had labor strikes and all that fun stuff. Just shipping
all
containers,
boats,
just sitting in there. Line. Yeah, just waiting. So we were on the receiving end of that, unfortunately, just missing a few raw ingredients. It's like, hey, sometimes you don't need to know how the watch is made. Just tell me what time it is. But it's like, holy cow, tell me why are we having such a big issue with getting coconut for all things. So anyway, how we did that is we got a few truckloads of product, and we brought it in to a facility here because the first stores that we opened up were in Minnesota surrounding us. So then we handled the acai of our pre-blended bases. We handled that in the early days, and then we went with a broadliner shortly after that. And then since we're in 14 different states right now, 72 open stores, so we need to have national distribution.
How do you deal with like consumer? Is there any I guess stupid question, like consistency issues or consumer taste different between like Minnesota, Florida, California, or is like the product offering pretty universal? where someone can go to Nautical Bowls and in California or Minnesota and expect the same product?
Yes, and that is a great question, not a stupid question. And that's why we have our pre-blended bases. You have a similar experience no matter where you are. We may have different topping offerings depending on, Miami, maybe pineapple is super cheap. And like, yeah, we're gonna throw pineapple on there. We've tried like every fresh fruit, and like the
What's
ones
your
that
favorite?
stay, well, the ones that we serve. So
Is
banana,
there a
blueberry, and
Bryant
strawberries.
bowl?
Probably the closest one would be our paddle bowl that we have. That's like more tropical, I like more fruity, more tropical. And then my wife, who is the brains behind this whole thing, likes peanut butter and chocolate, but we don't really have chocolate. We have a cacao base, and then we have our cacao nibs, and then peanut butter, and our peanut butter protein crumbles are amazing. They're fantastic. So that's you get that with the Naughty Bowl, which is a very popular bowl as well. Acai and pitaya, and then peanut butter, banana, granola, and cacao nibs. Kind of have like a peanut butter cacao flavor to it. Very, very good. I like the more fruity. That's more earthy, chocolatey, peanut buttery. So yes.
What are
Did
some
I
of the?
answer? Did I answer your question? I don't know.
Yeah, no, I can
The
tell
goal, the
you
goal is
you
for the
love this.
experience. Oh yeah.
And I love acai too. I didn't mention before we hit record, but I lived in Rio de Janeiro for a year during college,
Okay.
and I would have an acai bowl every single day, usually
Okay.
post surfing.
All right.
And
Well, you would be
yeah, that
a
was
tough
back
critic.
2008, where in the
Okay.
U.S. you really couldn't get it.
Yeah, I don't even know if there maybe in California.
And I think it was like the jiu-jitsu crowd from Brazil brought it to
Yeah.
Orange County and San Diego, and then from
Yeah.
there it started growing.
It's really taken off pretty significantly. Now it's its own category according to Entrepreneur Magazine, which is I follow that because they do a good job of following franchising. So now it's its own category. Before it was just like, oh yeah, this is a thing inside of the smoothie and juice industry. Now it's its own category, which is awesome. It's great for the
What would you say,
great for
like
the industry.
what percent of sales like incorporate some acai product into into that like line item on the check? Is it like 70% of sales are like somewhat acai related, or
Like acai the berry specifically.
yeah, like acai
Exam
is the base?
Yeah, it's our most popular. So, and all we do is bases. We just launched smoothies as well recently, but all we did was bases. All we did was bowls for for 5 years, 6 years up to this point. So now we just launched smoothies as well, but we're using our same bases and then blending those together so you can drink it. It's drinkable. But acai is our most popular.
And what are some of the lessons learned going from, I believe, 2 locations in 2021? Now it's July 2024. You have 72 open. Probably by the time it goes live, it might be up to 80. What were some of the lessons learned over those 3 years of growth?
It's a
Extreme
great,
growth.
yeah. I mean, I only know what I know.
Yeah.
This is our first business, our first franchise, and I only know what I know. And then, luckily we're in Minnesota, which is like ground zero for franchising, so I've heard.
Yes.
And we have great people around us. One of our key mentors is Rhoda Olson from Great Clips, and
Oh yeah.
she's like we meet with her once a week, once every other week,
It's
once
great.
a month at the least would be once a month, and she is unbelievable, right? So she's in our backyard, loves the product, and is great. And so and she's like this is incredible, like what you guys have been able to accomplish. And it's like, well, okay, what are other people doing? So already we're in 72 locations. I think once you're at 40 locations, that's like the top 20%. So when you're at 100 locations, you're at the top 5% of franchise businesses. So it's like, all right, pinch me. This is crazy. So with that fast growth is growing pains, and we're living through those. We've been living through them, and now like we've dug down deeper, so we kind of built pretty quick and then didn't have as strong of a foundation, and that's what we're doing. So there's a military phrase: slow is smooth, and smooth is fast. So what are the learnings? Slow is smooth, smooth is fast. So we went fast and kind of rigidy, and the same thing with making our bowls. Like if you can be fast and then but you don't make as pretty of a bowl. Like our bowls are very pretty. This is like what one of them looks like here. This is our sunrise bowl. So they've got those beautiful layers. So you could make that really fast, and then it wouldn't have this clean of lines, and it doesn't look photographable. It doesn't look Instagrammable, as the kids would say, right? So you can move fast, and you can make a bowl really fast. But if you actually make it smoothly, like if you slow is smooth, smooth is fast. So we actually try to teach our team members, a lot of young students, college students that work for us. So teach them how to move smoothly as opposed to just quickly. So it's just like get the motion down of making the bowls, and then just add pacing to that. So just then do that, but slightly faster, instead of like, this is how you do the thing, right? So anyway, so then on the franchise side of things, same thing, slow is smooth, smooth is fast. So digging deeper roots and focusing on franchisee success from the specific store level, which is really hard to do when you have a global vision, when you have a big vision and you have stores all over the country, and then focusing on one store. A lot of learnings that we've had, and now we're doubling down on our internal team, and then using specific vendors that are just experts in the franchising world to support our franchisees at the single store level, which actions speak louder than words. So that's what we're
I
doing
imagine there's a
now.
lot of variables, and you can have a lot of influence in terms of the results on the single store level and collective learnings with franchisees. But at the end of the day, if you choose a crappy location, you're stuck to that location. What are
Yep.
some lessons you've learned in terms of just site selection, and where do you guys thrive and where would you not open another location?
Site selection is, we're going to use the data or the data, however you say it, and use that. So now the good news is, and sometimes you have to learn these lessons by figuring out what not to do. So now we have data, and we can go in, and with the advancements in technology and AI, we can go in with mapping software, say, hey, here's some of our top performing stores, here's some of our bottom performing stores, what are the commonalities in there, and then we can create heat maps across different markets that we're going, and then boom, 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 can have cannibalization rate. If we go into, hey, we're going to build out in Dallas, it's like, all right, you can build out 78 stores in this area. So all these things in words that I don't understand, no, just kidding, that we can wrap our head around by using the data. And as we continue to grow and have more data to pull from, when we had 2 stores, that wasn't a lot to grab from. Now we have a bunch of stores, and then with more time of those stores being open, that makes it a lot simpler for us to make data-driven decisions to support our franchisees, right? Because that's why you get into a franchise. One of the most important things for us being brick and mortar locations is location. So if they're like, well, where should I go? Like, I've lived here my whole life. I think that would be a good spot. Okay, what does the data say? And so
Validate it
that's
with the
the
data.
exactly. So that's the first place we're gonna start utilizing the data that we have or have access to, or looking at competitors, or even, hey, find the best Starbucks in each state or each market that we're in. Where's the best Starbucks? Let's go next door to them if it's available. Then just like leverage their traffic that they're already getting, or and that's just like elementary. That's like, just be where people already are. Just be where people already are doing
And how
life.
about how about like on the buyer persona? Like, is there a type of person that you would love to just sell to all day, and you would just double down on,
Yeah.
clone if you could that buyer?
Yeah, if you look at our top people, and just franchisees that I'd love to call, and ones that don't call me, because usually when they call me or our HQ team, is there's a problem. And sometimes there's not a problem. They just want to talk about the problem. And that's fine. That's franchising. We know what we're in. But the ones that are the top performers, we never have a support ticket, because they just figure it out. They solve the problem. So the best people that are great franchisees for our system are ones that are hungry, that are overall more positive, just more positive people, have a more positive outlook, are happy and excited to work with young team members, because we have a young staff, and that excites them. Being the first job for a 16-year-old, 15-year-old is an exciting opportunity. We love that they come in fresh, and we get to teach them. I taught someone how to mop. They've never mopped in their life, never taken out the trash. It's like, what? We live in a more affluent area here in the Minnesota suburbs, I guess, but it's like, your parents didn't not make you mop ever in your life. Are you serious? So, but that girl, 2 years later, is going off to college, and she's studying hospitality because of what she learned at Nautical Bowls. She's like, I want to be in hospitality for a career. That's what I'm going to do because of Nautical Bowls. So like that, we wear that as a badge of honor. So what we look for are people that are willing and able to lead, are willing and able to be in the store, get their hands dirty, work in their business to get it up and running. Also, the mentality it takes to work on your business. It's easy to find people that are willing to work in the business. Hey, I can save on labor if I work behind the counter. But who's doing the community outreach? Who's dropping off samples to businesses in the area for catering opportunities? who's doing the guerrilla warfare, the guerrilla marketing in your area.
No one will care as much as the owner.
100%, right? And you can operationalize these marketing tactics. We have this, and why business is hard and franchising is like, oh, business is easy because it's a franchise. No, it's still hard because it's a business. There's 50 things that you have to do on a regular basis. They just don't have to be the same person to do each one. So growing pains is like there's so much that you have to do, and we've done so much so quickly that operationalizing each aspect of the business is a huge focus for us right now. So even like to the store level, like how can you get a regular, we call them deck hands, so a crew member, just right, 16-year-old that's serving bowls and serving guests. How can you operationalize some of these marketing activities, some of these items that need to be done, the business behind the business of labor management and inventory management? How can you
How many
operationalize
deckhands
that?
does a typical location have?
Anywhere from 12 to 20, depending on
Okay.
volume, depending on how many. So it's still not that many people. And if you have less, they have to work more. And if you have more, they're going to be working less, or you're doing more volume because we can have as little as 1 to 2 people working at one time to serve the guests, just depending on the volume of the store. And then as you ramp up to serve those the rushes that we have, or as we call them, waves. Comes in
And you
waves.
might have how many full-time employees? Like one or two, kind of more
One,
management level? One.
one, 1 to 0. I mean, if you're an owner operator, you're the full-time person, and then you have like an assistant, or we call them shift leads, or like a shift lead captain, which would be like your assistant manager. So
What are some ways you help the franchisees with hiring, training, firing?
we have playbooks, like hiring playbooks. We have sample questions. We have that all dialed in, but that also needs work to be more clockwork, right? Because with people, and that's maybe if that's harder to answer that question, because with people, they're people. It's not like a banana that just is a banana, and you can cut it and you put it on there, and it doesn't talk back, doesn't call in sick. It might get rotten, and you got to throw that out. That's an easy banana to fire, but people are harder to fire, and you know, but the hardest part of the business is the people, and the best and most rewarding part of the business is the people. So we do offer that, and our labor model is we utilize, I guess, younger students, high school and college age students. So with that comes a number of things. Things have changed a lot with this demographic too since we started in 2018, and it's the same person, 16 to 18 years old, 22 years old, but things are a little bit different. You gotta work with them a little differently to get them to work with us. But I think it being a place that people want to work because how they experience as a guest sets the precedent. So the number one marketing that we have is inside the store, the guest experience, because it helps with recruiting, and then the people that are working know what it feels like, so then they're going to do that, and then it just creates this positive cycle. It can also go the negative way as well. So we start with our team. Team is most important, then the guest, and then the community that we serve.
Yeah, and you can see it with some other brands in your space. Like I think about Dutch Bros, which used to franchise, and then they went just with corporate locations after they IPO'd. But it's just a bunch of young people working there, and everyone's smiling, and it's a great environment. Not as healthy product as you guys, but pretty sugary drinks. But they
Yeah,
create a great culture.
yeah. So doesn't matter what we serve. We just happen to serve acai bowls, right? Which is a better for you product. Cool. But if we sold sandwiches, coffee, fried chicken, our training and our leadership principles would all be the same. So we model a lot of what we do actually after Chick-fil-A. That's
Yeah,
fried
that's
chicken,
the gold
right?
standard.
It's the gold standard, as everyone should, right? But Truett Cathy said a good name is more valuable than silver or gold, right? That was like one of their guiding principles, right? So for us, having a good name, like we have big dreams, right? We're a small and emerging brand right now. But we would love for us, we're never going to be as big as Chick-fil-A and some of these other brands with thousands and thousands of locations. They've been around for decades, right? We've been around for not even barely over half a decade. So for us, we want to be synonymous, or not synonymous, in the same sentence as Chick-fil-A and Dutch Bros when people talk about the guest experience. Not AUV, we're not going to touch $9 million AUV as Chick-fil-A, right? But if people talk about Chick-fil-A and Nautical Bowls in the same sentence for how they treat guests and how you feel when you go there, then we're winning. That's boom. Just
Well,
we
then the
I can
investment
retire.
costs a lot lower. Maybe a Chick-fil-A is like 2.5. I know the franchisees and managers just contribute 10K, but
Yeah.
opening a Nautical Bowls, how much is it going to set back the franchisee?
Depending on market, depending on size, but like so percentage wise it can be a big difference, but it might only be 50K difference because it can be we have some that are just over 200,000, and then we have some that are north of 400,000. But we're
Okay.
falling in
That's
around like the majority of the ones that we're doing now. So we're looking at just smaller footprint. We don't need a lot with like 1,000 square
yeah.
feet or
How
less even.
much? 1,000. Yeah, that's not bad.
Yeah, so a build out for a store like that, and again, depending on the area, so it might be 250 to 300,000 would be your investment in there, including the franchise fee. So
I mean, for any business that's retail or specifically that sells food, it's really difficult to get under 200, 250. Like
yeah,
it's nearly impossible.
yeah. I mean, the new goal for us would be if we can get stores all in for under 250, like that would be when we first started, but that was at the beginning of COVID, and it was freaking nuts. So we were like 100, if we can get it for 150, like or less, like that'd be awesome. It's
It's
like
tough.
there's no
Yeah,
chance that's ever gonna
nowadays
happen. I don't mean, if
inflation.
you maybe if you had a food cart, and even that, man, I got a quote for a food truck that was, I don't even think we could have done it for that. It was crazy. So anyway,
Are the franchisees generally doing like some cash and some SBA loan, or how are they typically financing
yeah,
this?
the majority would be some cash and SBA loans. We have some that go all cash, and that just depending on your goal. Like they are long term, and they're like, we're going to be cash flowing this business, and that's going to help with that piece, and not have that debt and that bigger payment. Because a lot of franchisees, like their payments were double. Like they went from six
Oh
percent to
yeah,
now like a 12% variable rate. It
because
was
it's
like, oh my
prime
gosh.
plus two point
Yeah,
seven five, whatever you
so
lock
that got
in.
all
Where
jacked out of the, yeah. So and that there went all their cash flow, just whoa, because they just stripped the whole thing. So I don't know. That's a tough one. So, but what can we do is try to get the stores for a lower all-in investment to help with the cash flow of the business. So you just overall just improving unit level economics.
have any
So now we
franchisees
can, yeah.
open multiple locations?
Yep. Yep. We have our top franchisee is has just recently acquired 2 locations, which is awesome. As being a young brand, having, you know, Rachel and I were the only people that had more than one location. And then now we have many, right? And we have some that
That's
are
huge.
acquiring locations, which is awesome. That's great to see, great to hear, and you want your top people doubling down on the brand, and that's awesome. So, yeah.
Brian, we covered a lot today. Any parting wisdom for those that are looking to get in entrepreneurship, maybe buy a franchise?
Yeah, with franchising, it seems like the world at large thinks of franchising as the easy way to do business. Even if you listen to podcasts like this and like, hey, I'm a learner, I'm a grower, you know, like still franchising is easy, it's simple. I don't have to do what the founders did in the early days because they already did it. They proved the concept.
The product market
Here,
fit is there, at
exactly.
least.
So like they're in Minnesota, I'm in South Carolina. I don't have to do what they did. Nobody cares about Brian and Rachel in South Carolina. Like, who are you? Who are you? And what is this product? Tell us about it. Why do I care? What value does it bring to me? You have to do the things. Hey, by the way, this is the stuff that we did that works. This is the playbook. So if you're going to go into franchising, there's a playbook. The playbook only works if you work it, right? So what you also talked about who we look for. We look for people that just take action. They don't
Yeah.
want to question things. They want to take action. There's a great resource. Parting Wisdom, it's not even for me. Wealthy Franchisee. It's a great book. Listen to
Oh
it,
yeah, it's
read
a great
it,
one.
and that's
We
it.
had
Kind
Scott
of sets the frame.
on our podcast a while
Yeah.
back.
So if you're going to get into franchising or entrepreneurship, no matter what, the work needs to be done. It needs to be done. And if it's you are the owner and you don't do it, then it doesn't get done unless you have a system, unless there's a way. So it's prioritizing the thing. If you're going to get into a franchise, find one that you can explicitly get very clear on what does the day in the life look like, feel like, smell like, And I'll also say this: every franchise business out there, every business out there, even us here, show you this for the YouTubers out there. Here we are, number 38 on the top emerging brand in the Entrepreneur magazine. That's great. Outside looking in, you're like, that is amazing. But hey, we have growing pains because of that. They're good problems to have, but we are, you know challenge things, ask questions, and at the end of the day, knowing you made a decision, you signed the dotted line, you have to make the most of it. So if you make this decision to move forward with a franchise or to be a business owner, you made the decision. Can't blame Biden. You can't blame the economy. Make the most of it. There's so many stories of people that have faced worse things and have made it out of that, even though your friends be like, oh yeah, inflation, your business, that's why you went out of business. People will slap you on the back like, hey, better luck next time. Or use that as, despite that, I still was able to succeed. Or maybe because of that, I was able to pivot my business and then succeed. That was not one piece of wisdom, not even wisdom. That was just a bunch of
That was good.
so hopefully that can be well
I think
received.
I don't believe in passive
Yeah.
franchises or even semi-absentee to start. I think you got to go all in. And
Hmm.
we advise our clients, hey, the next 18, 24 months are going to be tough. It's going to be a step back to take a step forward.
Yeah.
But put in the time and it will pay dividends later. And I think what you mentioned, culture, and really setting
Yep.
that culture so then the manager and the employees can help recruit other employees.
Hmm.
But it takes time. If you're not willing to put in the time, then I don't know if any business is right for you owning,
Hmm.
whether it's a franchise or not.
Yep. I heard a quote: "Success is boring. You just have to do the same thing." What's exciting is not having enough money for payroll. That's exciting. It's a bad exciting, but it's like, where am I gonna come up with it? It's like, or it's like, yeah, we got enough money in the bank. It's just like, okay, pay payroll, and you're just, okay, send out this marketing thing, okay, do the staffing, okay, hey guys, here's what we do. Success is boring, right? But there are exciting things. Hey, we have an LTO, we have this and that. We're gonna do this new, sales script, or whatever the thing is. You got to keep that spicy. You got to keep guests coming back, especially in a brick and mortar space. But the blocking and tackling, that's why they call it blocking and tackling, is it's the boring stuff. But if you can get excited about business, about leadership, about people, and the impact that you make, you're saying the same thing, but that's a new experience for a different person. So that's how can you find the excitement in the mundane. That's a true entrepreneur.
Yeah, and Brian, what's the best way, just concluding, what's the best way for people to reach out if they're interested in learning more about a Nautical Bowls opportunity?
Absolutely. We have a franchise page on our website. There's a form. Fill that out. Kind of goes through the process, right? It helps this my monkey brain over here. It helps us keep things in line. We have a great team that helps support that. And then LinkedIn. I'm not really on social. I might start doing that more here, but LinkedIn is like the only one that social platform that I use from time to time.
Same with
But
me.
if you're interested in Nautical Bowls, nauticalbowls.com/franchise, fill out the form and we'll start a discussion.
Awesome, Brian. Really appreciate your time today.
Really appreciate you. Thank you for having me. Everybody, go make the world a brighter and amazing place.